The views, products, and services featured in this segment are provided by independent businesses and are not directly endorsed, guaranteed, or warranted by the Lifeline podcast or its host. We encourage our listeners to conduct their own due diligence before making any purchases or business decisions. The Lifeline podcast assumes no responsibility or liability for any transactions, experiences, or outcomes resulting from engaging with these businesses. Any disputes, concerns, or issues must be directly addressed with the business in question. By listening to this segment and choosing to engage with featured businesses, you acknowledge and agree that the Lifeline podcast is not liable for any claims, losses, or damages arising from your interactions with these businesses. Welcome to the Lifeline, a production of Simply BJE. The goal of this podcast is to build, inspire, and to empower our listeners through conversations on business, leadership, and mental health. We invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and at www.simplybje.com/the Lifeline. Now, let's tune in for today's episode. Go. Top of the day, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Lifeline with your host, life coach and motivational speaker, Bo Powell, social media influencer and owner of the For Real brand, Lindsberg Petway, and yours truly, leadership coach and mental health advocate, Barry J. Elliott. You can visit us at www.simplybje.com/the Lifeline and on social media and on Facebook, Instagram, and now on YouTube. Today, we have business owners Tamara Hall and Jermaine Washington. They are our very first Black Business Showcase. We are excited today to hear about this new product. Without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the Bowmeister, as I call him, Mr. Bo Powell, and we're going to talk further about this great idea.
Man, we're so excited to have you guys on this morning. Talk about this. I'm just going to give you guys the floor. Just tell us about your business, how it got started, the mission behind it, the passion behind it. Let our listeners know what it's all about.
you. Um, Thank you so much for having us on. We're so excited to be here, and we're just really blessed and excited to share this idea with you. So I want to share a personal note from the founder and the creator, Dion Tate. Um, the vision of this company really came from just firearm safety and accessibility, giving a cutting edge technology to all masses, not only to private and government sectors, but whomever wants to just protect themselves, protect their family. With over 9 years of experience as a level 3 and level 4 security officer, he embodied the idea of being a bodyguard, a bounty hunter, and being able to really see firsthand knowledge and challenges that law enforcement and security professionals face, as well as civilians, when they're ensuring firearm safety. He was driven by the passion and the innovation of the communities, and that's what led him to a mega clip. It is a state-of-the-art gun holster. The mega clip gives you the ability for advanced features such as biometric finger scanning, a 3-pin locking mechanism, and a GPS beacon. So it's giving you the ability to be located, found, and rescued if needing to be. It's also a secure firearm storage with a rapid response. It's basically like we're going to put ADP into your gun holster. So we're going to make sure that we can locate you. We're going to make sure that you have the technology that you need to do in any arms in any area that you're using. He was born and raised in Houston, Texas, and he has always been committed to protecting civilians and those who live, work, and worship in his community. Under his leadership, Omega Clip LLC has been dedicated to innovating all types of safety and solutions that address modern challenges, ensuring reliability, safety, and compliancing with the higher standards. With his entrepreneur spirit, we are dedicated to drive Omega Clip into a safer future for all, a safer fire industry for all, and global plans for expansion and continued innovation with arms and safety. And that's a personal letter from the inventor.
Awesome. Awesome. Good
And
stuff.
just for our listeners, it's called Omega Clip. And when you talk about gun safety, I think it's absolutely important to, that's something. And we were just amazed that, this is the first of its kind. Just to kind of break it down for our listeners, Tim, I know you talked about biometrics and fingerprints and 3-pin locking. If you or Jermaine can tell us, why is that so important? to really have those type of things in place and how it could really impact our community.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Um, when you're using, okay, so every nowadays, everybody has a fingerprint scan on their phone. We also have biometric eyes, as well to unlock our phones. When it comes to a gun holster, having the ability to have your hand be able to unlock it. The three prongs that here. So if you're holding a gun, this is your hand, this is where your gun holster lies. If you're able to actually use your fingerprint to release the gun, the 3 points that hold the actual gun in place will release it, leaving the holster, but actually being able to release the gun. The GPS tracker is actually in the holster. So as soon as the gun is released from the holster, it sends a signal to either your app, or it'll send a signal to the police station or to your personal security system, letting you know that the gun is being disarmed. Um, because the 3 point locking system is so vital, if the fingerprint fails, it still has a 3 prong switch. The 3 prong switch is what you'll use with 2 fingers to release the gun for whatever reason the actual fingerprint fails. So you have a backup system. Where that comes in is, let's say that you're you're a mom and you want to sleep with a gun under your pillow. Well, you can't sleep with a gun under your pillow and a lock safe, because who wants to sleep on a hard lock safe? But with this holster, you can actually have your firearm under your pillow, locked, safe, because your child can't fingerprint access and get it. And even if they could, mommy sleepy, fingerprint access and get it, he still couldn't unlock it because of the 3 prong system, because of the app access, and because of the uh safety interface that we've unlocked into the app, into the beacon as well. So that's what makes it so important. Now, for law enforcement, huge factor. This is going to your body cam. So as soon as you disarm your gun, it's going to your body cam signal, which is on a personal closed network. Then it's also going back to the police station to letting you know, Officer Elliott has disarmed his gun. He is at 2.7 Mason Street, requesting backup or whatever have you, how we continue the interface product with that gun for law enforcement. So it's giving you that security, that confidence. Is also letting your accountability partners, aka your whole unit, know you've released that gun.
Wow, that's
We
brilliant.
So,
talk.
on a personal note, I noticed that you said either the app or the police station. Do you have to register the holster with the local police, or is that something that's done when it's sold?
When it's sold, you can actually choose how you want to do it. You can use the interfacing app. The interfacing app is always going to be partnered with local law enforcement. That's what you
Okay.
pay for when you subscribe. When you subscribe for the app, we will take care of that. If you want to actually not subscribe with the app and you just want to actually use your GPS beacon, then you can register like with your security system to the local police station. But we set up interfaces to already have that into the local police station in your area. But you will have to let us know where you are located, of course. Fill out basically your product registration, your product registration, your what's it called? Yeah, product registration. We'll stop there.
Okay.
Another key component of it is the app only. The holster only allows 2 people to be registered for the holster. So, say you're in your relationship, the husband, wife, or your spouses, they only have access to it. When you transition over to the military or to the police sector, whoever is firing the weapon or whoever is maintaining the weapon has access to the weapon. The only time the weapon should be drawn is if it's being fired or if it's being cleaned or serviced. So that is a key component of it also.
Okay.
When it's being cleaned, the system is actually going to ping you when it's being cleaned, because it will be out of the holster longer than it would be if you're just drawing it or for safety. So you'll interface with the app and let them know that you are cleaning it. It'll be disarmed, and then the holster will go on a reset mode. When your gun is being drawn, that's when the beacon is actually being alerted and your GPS tracker is on, and then everybody kind of knows like that your gun is out and what's going on. So we'll change the interface. And then we're also working with high level awareness uh, for personal injury, personal concern, mental health, things like that,
Excellent.
where if for whatever reason you weren't feeling a certain well, you were alone at home with your holster and you needed someone to talk to, we're trying to partner with other things to help
Excellent.
with certain preventions, certain awarenesses, calls, things, and interface that in the app. So you're just not feeling like a cup of Joe is doing it today and you need to talk to somebody. We're going to actually add that on an interface as well because it's an all-rounded system.
I appreciate that because I think some people are not mentally fit to have a gun. That's just
Yes,
the
sir.
reality. Even though the NRA would argue because of the green, but the reality of it is some people don't need a gun. So I'm glad you guys are considering all those factors.
Another thing, in case you're traveling, say you're traveling with your partner or one partner is home and another person is traveling, if they're out on the road and that weapon is pulled, it would send an alert to the partner on their phone. So now your partner can be like, what's going on? I can give you a phone call and say, what's going on? Why is the weapon being drawn right now? So it also alerts your partner also.
Oh, okay.
And that's all set up in the app. You can determine who you want to be notified.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so it can go straight from it can be the police or it can be your partner. You can choose when you're away. So away mode is a huge thing that we're gonna intervise in that. So let's say you gave you wanted your wife to go to the store and you gave her the gun to put into her handbag, and something happens, an altercation, it won't call honey immediately. It'll call the cops immediately if there's a drawn. So you can choose when you set up your interface, when she's gone or he's gone or they're gone, what they need to do and what
So,
they would prefer
so how many people can actually be notified? Only one or
to.
two? Okay, two. Okay, great. So you can choose a police and an accountability partner.
Yes,
Excellent.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now, the
And,
holster. Oh,
I'm sorry, go
now
ahead.
the question. Now, the holster itself, it can hold multiple guns, 380s, 40 calibers, or is it just you have to buy separate, different sizes?
Oh no, we want rifles. We
Okay.
want the whole lot. We want to make
Okay.
sure that whichever gun you own, you want, we can actually customize it. It's 100% customizable because the with the three prong locking mechanism, it locks to any ring trigger of the gun. I believe I'm saying that right. The
That's
ring
right.
trigger.
Trigger.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, a couple of weeks ago, I was joking with Petway, and I told him I'm glad he's saved because he's a hustler. You heard how he read it off to name all those guns. See, I'm glad he's saved. We'd be in trouble.
No, I'm saying you got to protect yourself. I sound like Tamara shooter too now when she was
I
talking
mean,
earlier.
I'm going for my level 1 sniper, just saying.
Oh
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
felt
I believe
that.
I believe in gun safety. Yes, I believe in gun safety 100%, 100%. But then
Definitely.
I also want the people who are unaware and who are kind of afraid to be able to go into this. All of this gears down to we want people to be aware. Guns
Mhm.
all say disclaimer in effect, guns don't kill people. Uneducated usage of a firearm is what normally happens when it comes to violence. And we would just want to open that parallel. We would love to be giving classes. I mean, the sky is the limit to what we really can do when we are educated on any topic, especially guns.
Yeah,
Oh,
lack of knowledge normally gives people fear. And
yeah.
one thing about guns coming up is always the police, the bad guy, or the military. So when you said classes, I know a lot of people who want guns, but they're just scared of and scared to have them in their home. Something like this, with the purchase of the gun, the app, having the access to the police station, and then the classes, I think is a great opportunity for our community. And speaking of community, when I was listening to the mission statement, it seems like Mr. Tate is all about community. So why is it so important as African Americans or Black people that we create businesses like this and not only create them, support them?
I think it's crucial for us to go in and create business. Growing up, a lot of us aren't taught about business. We're not taught about finances. We're not taught about that. So it leaves a perpetual system where we're less than our counterparts. So to be able to come up with an idea like this, it's awesome. Um, we're creating jobs. We will be creating jobs. We'll be giving people knowledge, and we're also teaching our children how to become entrepreneurs. So all of that stuff's trickled down, and to be able to see someone come from nothing and to be able to make something, it also influences to let others know that they're able to do the same thing.
And a more directive, the creator was raised in Harlem Clark. If you're from Houston, you know what I'm saying. He was raised in Harlem Clark. So he was raised in a really interesting area of Houston. And in that interesting area of Houston, he got to see a lot of inspiration about why we need to educate, and being able to sit down as a mom with my firearm and talk to my babies as a mother of three with a 17, a 14, and a 4-year-old, and say, this is a gun and this is what we're gonna, and understand and not have that fear is a
Fear, yeah.
humongous feature and a humongous level that we could do that we've all been kind of straying from. There are those people, statistically, you're finding about less than 30% of people want to talk about it. Less than 50% of people will educate properly on it. And what 20% of people act like they don't exist statistically.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting story for me. I did 12 years in the military. Before I joined, I was actually teetering on if I wanted to join or not. I was living out in Dallas, and one of my neighbors got shot and killed, and I was like, you know what? If you can get shot and killed out here, I might as well get paid for it and go into the military. So gun awareness is a very crucial. It's very crucial.
Yeah. Yeah. So that city where he grew up might be similar to Detroit.
Right. I was thinking
Yeah.
that. I was thinking that. I was thinking that. And my mom went to Baltimore too.
Yeah.
Even though I've never seen The Wire, I've never watched it because it was Baltimore's my hometown, so it left a bad taste in my mouth. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of it was really accurate, more
Yeah.
than I had cared to admit. But a lot of it is accurate. But you said something. A couple things you said, Ms. Hall. You talked about how you had conversation with your 17, 14-year-old and 4-year-old. Is that right?
Hmm.
And it just made me think about how in the African American community, how very often we're afraid to have hard conversations. And so very often our children are left to find out things on their own. And so that even translates to gun violence or gun unsafety because we're afraid to have those hard conversations. So I applaud you for being forward thinking enough to have that hard conversation with your children. The other thing you said prior to that, you were talking about how the Omega clip could cause you to venture off into having classes about or on gun safety, mental health. And so talk to us a little bit, and you and Mr. Washington talked to us about that, about how your first business can be a launching pad for other businesses and creating multiple streams of income.
100%. Well, there's no way with our amazing 5 brains that we're going to actually be able to tap into what everybody needs. So we need to make sure that we invite everybody. This is not a one plate dinner. This is a buffet, and we want to make sure that everybody eats on according to what they want and what they like. And that's entrepreneurship, and that's our community, and that's what we're wanting to put into our community. If you're not necessarily a person that wants to be a part of quote unquote guns, but you want to understand why somebody would, we want to have a place for you. If you are gun ready and you're like, I love guns, I've got 27 of them, and I'm like, okay, how many of them are protected? How many of them do you know? It's odd for a 4-year-old because she's looking at you like, mommy, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you'll get it. It's just gonna go into your receptacles. It's just gonna it's gonna sit back there and you're gonna understand. But it's something that you see that, you don't touch. If you need to move it, it's fine because it's protected and it's safe. But we don't touch it unless, mommy's around. Having those kind of conversations like we do with our lipstick and our makeup and our purses, making sure at the smallest level you can understand, at the biggest level you can understand. And then when it comes to this system and making sure that people can hear you, feel you, understand, and know your passion is driven, that's entrepreneurship. It's being passionate about something else to the point that you don't care what's going on and why you need to get it out there, but you know it's in you to put it out there because it can save somebody's life. It can feed somebody's child. It can clothe somebody's child. It can educate somebody's child. It can do something that it's been God given in you to do, to put out.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's great.
for me, I have multiple businesses. I have Washington JA Properties LLC. I manage properties. I've done real estate investing. Also have a nonprofit, Brothers Supporting Brothers. We teach about getting into real estate, fixing your credit, mentoring young men. Um, Being able to have that diversity what allowed me to be able to get into the Omega Clip. So it's about being able to be versatile, allowing yourself to take that first step to be able to go into something because you never know what's going to happen. If you always say no, you're always going to fail. So until you're willing to take that first step, you're not giving yourself an opportunity to do anything. So that's very important to teach the youth, to teach entrepreneurs. Go out on a limb, take that first step.
That's
Jermaine, thank
good.
you for that. What did we learn when we were a kid? The world may not teach you what you want to know, but it's ready to teach you something.
Right.
So we have to make sure that if we're not letting our youth learn what the world wants to teach us, then we have to be the teachers in our society, in our time, in our mindset. I think we have definitely wanted, here, you go to school, you learn.
Yeah.
But we have to put the work back on us as parents, as Black entrepreneurs, as Black parents, as people, to teach our youth and teach our people and teach what we want them to know, not what we see.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
what you just said just kind of sparked something for me. And it's this whole idea about us really controlling our own narrative,
Yes.
as opposed to allowing media or even educators control the narrative because even education is being tainted. And so I think it's really important, which is why so many parents I know now are doing homeschooling. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's critical for what you just said. I think it's so critical that we find new ways to control the narrative. And when you really think about our heritage, one of the anchors of our culture were the griots, the storytellers. And so now, how do we create our story? How do we reshape our story? So I think that's a great perspective.
Mhm.
And we have to create our story with finances. I
Yeah,
mean, as much as we talk, as much as we teach and preach, we have to have some money. We have to have these opportunities, like she said, to help hire other people, teach other people, and they can spin off to other businesses and other opportunities.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited about this conversation. I am. Yeah,
extremely. So, before we, as we kind of begin to wrap this conversation up, Tamara, Jermaine, tell our listeners how they can access Omega Clip, how they can take advantage of it, things of that nature, how they can find you guys on social media, on the website. Tell us everything they need to know about how they could look into Omega Clip and take advantage of it.
All right. Well, you can find me on Instagram at Jermaine633. You can find me on Facebook at Jermaine.Washington. And on LinkedIn at the same thing, Jermaine.Washington. TheOmegaClip.com is where you can find the product. We have a few videos of the product. Um, we are about to launch another Indiegogo crowdfunding to actually go into our research and development, but we are patented. We have all that stuff taken care of. Tam?
I am on LinkedIn as well. All of my mainstreams are attached to Tamara Hall or Tamara Tate, her marital name. Um, And please look forward to more information. Omega Clip has a Facebook page. We have a LinkedIn. We have an Instagram. We do post daily, if not weekly, new information, new stats, things that are coming out in law enforcement, things that are coming out in gun safety. And I really just want all of our listeners to understand and to know that there's nothing wrong in protecting yourself, and there's nothing wrong with using a weapon to protect yourself and educating yourself with it. I want to throw a couple of stats out there, letting everybody know that 13.6 million people bought handguns last year in 2024.
It's just handguns. And registered.
And right, exactly.
Registered.
And these are registered people. So this is not something that we're just kind of shooting from the hip and just deciding, oh, we want to talk about guns and gun holsters and stuff. This is something that we're seeing millions of people have information and millions of people wanting to see more information and millions of people wanting to know how they can do. $137 million were spent last year for the federal government for gun violence research since 2020.
Wow.
So in the last 5 years, the United States has spent $137 million in federal money so we can understand why gun violence is so high and the significance of gun violence and how we can educate people on gun violence. And this goes not just for the Center of Defense and Control and Prevention, but this is also for the Department of Veterans. We won't talk about the numbers of people who deal or who have actually dealt along with it, but I really just wanted to talk about civilian lives, what statistics come out with gun violence, with how many people own guns, and how much money is being spent on understanding. $137 million is a little bit more than $10 when it comes to understanding gun violence and research. And since we're putting so much money out there in the ethers to understand the thought process behind it, we want to put more money in the ethers to understand how we control bringing the number down lesser as far as when it comes to incidents and killings and just recklessness. So we definitely would like you guys to join our platform, ask us any questions. We have a questionnaire on every platform. We also have if you need to know, if you want to know questions, please feel free to DM us, and we would love to respond and help.
Tamara, do you have Dion's contact information?
I do. I'm sorry. Yes, with the founder, it is Dion Tate on Instagram. It's Dion Tate on LinkedIn, also Omega Clip LLC, on LinkedIn as well. On Instagram, it's Omega Clip LLC as well.
Yeah, I think this is amazing and can be a very vital or instrumental, tool for gun safety. So bring that the right people hear about it to really get this thing out to the masses at all levels, federal, local, government, state level. I think this can truly be a game changer for that. So we appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us and our listeners about Omega Clip. And just for some people, because I know when Jermaine told me about Indiegogo, can you kind of spell that out for just so they can find it?
Put me on the spot. Hold on, let me get that for you.
He's like, as I pull it up.
Right. I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, I never heard. I was like, what is Indiegogo? But I want to ask. It was always, what is Indiegogo?
It's INDIEGOGO. India, November, Delta, India, Echo, Golf, Oscar, Golf, Oscar.com.
So there you have it, man. This conversation is so needed and necessary. I know probably millions of people have been impacted by gun violence. And had they had something like Omega Clip in place, maybe some of those things could have been thwarted with that. So definitely a very important show. So this is going to conclude another episode of The Lifeline with your host, BJE, Lynchburg, Petway, and Bo Powell. Don't forget to check us out at www.simplybje.com/The Lifeline and on social media. Look, we're on a mission. We want to bring light and life into your household. So join us and let us hear your feedback because it's all about bringing life to you on The Lifeline. Y'all take care.
Thank you for listening to today's episode with host, business expert, and life coach Bo Powell, social media influencer and entrepreneur Lynchburg Petway, and leadership coach and mental health advocate Barry J. Elliott. Join us next week for another impactful conversation on The Lifeline. God bless.